You thought of any ways of cracking the situation? Because the problems are kind of well known at this point of time. Many filmmakers have talked about this problem of how distribution, OTT, these are not really solving the crisis. But we also have to start thinking about some strategies of actually working out. It might not really work, but how do we actually enter this world, right? So, any thoughts on this? Because, like Suman said, it will be helpful for everyone if somebody has some thoughts on the matter.
ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ ബഡ്ജറ്റിലുള്ളൊരു സിനിമ ആളുകൾ കാണുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ അത് ഫെസ്റ്റിവലിൽ വർക്കാവുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ആളുകൾ നോട്ട് ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ നമുക്ക് OTT ആ രീതിയിൽ മുമ്പോട്ട് പോകാൻ പറ്റും. അതാണ് എൻ്റെ പ്ലാൻ. ഐ മീൻ ആളുകൾ അത് ഇപ്പോൾ ഇന്ത്യയിലാണെങ്കിൽ തന്നെ നമ്മൾ ഈ മാമിയാണെങ്കിലും IFFK ആണെങ്കിലും IFFI ആണെങ്കിലും അവിടെയുള്ള ഫെസ്റ്റിവൽ സിനിമകൾ നമ്മൾ ശ്രദ്ധിക്കും. ആളുടെ അഭിപ്രായം നമ്മൾ പല വഴി കേൾക്കാറുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ നമ്മൾ ഒരുപാട് സിനിമകൾ OTTയിൽ കാണാറുമുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഒരു വഴിയാണ് ഞാൻ.
Like I said, of the various people sitting here, Sumanth, Fazil, and Diwa are having their world premiere here. So no, so not yours. Sorry, yours is a South Asia premiere. Sorry, San Sebastian. I forgot from mistake. So, but what Fazil is saying is also how much investment he's putting in the film festival as a site which gives visibility to the films, which then hopefully will translate into some kind of a distribution strategy. Diva, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so when I was making the film, I wanted to send it out to festivals. What I didn't know was that the whole festival journey is going to be so challenging and so confusing. So for me, I think Film Bazaar was the first time when I got an idea of what it was going to be like. And then still I didn't know how to navigate through, because there are so many festivals you haven't heard of. You don't know what to do about it. People talk about festivals, but what does really happen? What are you looking for when you go to a festival? Or why do you want to do a run? And I think that was the challenging part, but still you submit, you socialize with people. Film Bazaar helped a lot. uh, but then it requires a lot of patience. You constantly confused when you get rejections, and you're getting back to back rejections, so your self-esteem goes away. You don't know what to do next. You made it, and you wanted to be screened at least in one of the festivals. I think what I did was I talked to fellow filmmakers, like I talked to Pratik Watts, who was very encouraging, who told me no, who would help me navigate, or Deepthi Dukuna. Like I would talk to people and ask them, like, look, I don't know, I'm so confused, I don't even know where to send it, like how does it happen? And I think that helped, because when I was like sending it to San Sebastian, I wasn't really happy. I was a little like, oh, I don't know, like, how it's going to be. But then it was great. Like, we were the first Indian film to win the New Directors Award, and it was so welcoming the way they received us. It's a very small town, and the festival is great. So yeah, so I think those were my small learnings. Film Bazaar, or the fellow filmmakers who've had that journey, just going up to them, just reaching out to them, and they help you a lot. Yeah, I think that's what helped
Have you
me.
thought of from here on what the career of the film?
No, I think at every point then you become clueless, because you think you've got this figured out, and then there are new sets of challenges, and it's very uncertain. I personally think.
And again, I mean, I realized that when I earlier said that it would be different in India and Europe, I shouldn't be a kind of painting Europe in one brush. Clearly, there's a whole difference within what happens in Europe. So, Nina, I'm sure the challenges you faced would be very different from both from Indian filmmakers, and from the French filmmakers. Clearly, so what were your plans for the film, and how did it work out?
Yes, so because we didn't know anything about the industry when we started, because we were still in school, it was somewhere at the end of post-production that we really started thinking about it. And we kind of asked around, but in Serbia, I don't want to say no one, but very few people know how the festival circuit works. Like, there are a couple, but then they've probably had a premiere at Cannes or Venice or somewhere big, and then it kind of goes from there. And our film was too small for those festivals, but still we wanted to try and make, I guess, as big of an impact as we could, kind of to get our names out there and to do as much as we can with what we have. So at some point, as I was researching the topic, because like I said, we didn't know anything, I found a sales rep in the US who actually deals exclusively with indie films, and it turns out that he dealt with foreign films as well. And he kind of...
It will be useful to mention the name. It will be useful to mention the name so that others know.
His name is Glenn Reynolds. and he's worked in distribution for a very long time. But now he works kind of, I think he works alone now. But he has the connections and he knows the ropes, he knows the way it works. So he kind of guided us through which festivals to apply to in the US because we were looking for a US premiere. I kind of figured that if it premiered there, somewhere where you know the name, then in Serbia it would be kind of easier. And it turned out that it was. And then afterwards, so after we premiered at Slam Dance in January. He went on to look for US distributors for us and connect us with them. And in Serbia, we actually, one of our professors recommended that we get a PR as soon as possible and get the news out there. So I would recommend, you guys probably have them, but if you don't, try to get them. Um, so we had a meeting with a distributor in Serbia in February, right after the festival, and he liked the film. It was so we were talking about a theatrical release. And he liked the film, he liked it very much, but he honestly said that he didn't know what to do with the film, that he didn't know how it would attract an audience, and to see. Basically, he told us to come back when we have more festivals and more awards. And we were lucky enough that that happened for us. So now we're getting a theatrical release in like a week. We're starting in Serbia. And ended up signing with a US distributor, but we're going, I think, straight to VOD and maybe then some platforms. I don't know. Hopefully by the end of the year.
So, I mean, one of the things would be for all of you to also kind of look at these patterns and see how one can learn from each other and so on and so forth. I would like to move to Anais now. And I'll actually come to Kanu first because I want to ask a question to both of you together after that. I'll come back. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah. So, Kanu, your kind of distribution strategies of film from when you made Agra to now, sorry, from you made Titli to now, how has it changed? How has it evolved? What can you actually tell these young filmmakers about this kind of strategy?
So with Titli, I was really lucky because Titli was financed by one of the biggest studios in the country. It was Yashraj Films. So I didn't have a distribution battle. They did make me do another cut of the film because they thought it was too dark. What the can cut was. So I all I had to do was do another cut of the film, which I said, okay, if you feel the film needs to be in a different form for India, shape for India, let me do it myself. So I did that. But the limited theatrical run that we got was always sort of on the cards. And then the only reason it got onto a bigger OTT platform was because it got bundled with the studio's bigger films. Otherwise, I think it could have been harder for a film like Titli to find a home. But it was because of that heft that it went. So I think one of the ideas for smaller films that can be played out is to find a bigger backer who has a broader bundle, and sometimes smaller films get bundled in with bigger films. So that's one way to do it. Yeah, and Agra, yeah, I mean, we don't know. We'll see what happens with it. But I mean, the problem that you mentioned, I've been thinking about it quite for quite a while. And the idea that sort of I've been forming in my head is not a new idea. It's just a slightly different take on an older idea. People have done it before this, but I feel like if distribution is the problem, then we have to attack distribution in a way where today I think there is a very pressing need for an OTT platform that is dedicated to independent cinema, because the bigger OTT platforms have sort of moved on. The story has moved on for them. They've the initial phase where they were getting their subscriptions from the bigger 8-tier metro cities, where their perception of the audience is that it's a much more intelligent, intellectual audience. That time for them has passed now. They've moved on. They want the subscriptions from the B centers, C centers. And again, their perception is that the audiences there want dumbed down Bollywood kind of content. So that doesn't take away from the fact that we have a really deep rooted film culture, and we have a tradition of telling some really really important and significant stories, and that is not going to get eroded very quickly. I mean, we have a set of voices here. We have at least 100 films playing in the festival, if not more than that. So I'm saying the supply is there. and the supply is there. I mean, if you look at the audiences that are watching, stepping in to watch these films, you can see that the demand is also there. So the demand and supply is there. I think it's about now trying to find a model, a sustainable model, where a dedicated independent platform is able to make that financial model work, right? Let's say if an independent film costs 2 to 3 crores INR, then an independent platform needs to make that economics work, both for themselves and for the filmmakers. And I think as soon as someone starts thinking in that light, there are already, we have here at least 50 films which need a platform right now. So the content is there. It's just about someone getting impregnated with that idea and saying, okay, let's do this, this is what it needs, and this is what it needs. Because in today's day and age, getting the tech for a platform like that, this is not an issue. You can easily get the tech going for 15 to 20 crores. It's not more than that. So I guess what I'm saying is, it's there. It just needs someone to bring it all together and put it there. And I feel it has a fairly good chance of being successful, just if the economics is worked out.
So now I turn to Anais and Sophia, Sophie, because what is interesting, what's coming out of this conversation here is at least Nina seemed to have been able to find a path for the film in one way, reaching to theatrical release soon, right? In the Indian filmmakers' case, there seems to be less hope in the theatrical in a certain way. And as Ken was saying, that maybe the hope is a different kind of OTT platform or streaming platform or something like that. I would imagine